Good morning, dear Stitchers. It's Judy Whitman with JBW Designs, and I know that I've been gone forever, and I have stories to tell you of where I have been. The last time that I did a video was before Nashville, when I showed you my Nashville releases. So I want to apologize. I like to do them more often, but life got so busy, and we were taking several trips, and so I'll tell you all about it, and so settle in and get your stitching and something to drink, and so we'll visit with one another. I can't tell you how much I've missed you. I love having our contact on a every other week basis. I love reading your notes, and I am so grateful that you choose to watch my channel because you have so many choices. So first of all, the question is, where have I been? And the answer is on the road. So the first thing that happened was the Nashville market. And I have to tell you, it was amazing. That was the first weekend in March. And I am so grateful for all of the shops who attended. I met so many floss tubers there who I had not met in person before. And that was such a treat. And the sales of my new designs were just amazing. So I just can't tell you how grateful I am to all of you who place orders and to all of the shops who attend market. So then I came back from that trip with my helper Dawn, and was only home for 6 days, and had a lot of follow-up orders to fill and paperwork to do before I left again. One thing I want to say is that my neighbor Sue stepped in to help me while I was gone, and I couldn't have been gone for so long without her help. So thank you, Sue. She was just a real trooper, and someday I'll tell you about the story of poor Sue and driving up our hill, etc., because it's quite a tale to tell. So thank you, Sue, for all of your help. You did a fantastic job. You are my number one worker, definitely. As your husband said, employee of the month, which is true. And the fun thing is that she loves loves doing it, so she's going to be doing a lot more work for me in the future. So then we went down to Florida, and this is an annual trip that my husband and I take because he's retired, and we love it. It's something I really look forward to. I need that time to recharge my batteries. The first couple months of the year were particularly hectic this year, I think because I did a retreat in Ohio at Keepsakes, and then getting ready for Nashville. It's quite stressful, and I don't sleep well when I have so many things on my mind. But once I get to Florida, I do so many things that are good for the soul. I read a lot, I stitch a lot, and I have a group of stitching friends who have invited me to join them when I'm down there. And they actually live in the area where we rent. And so it's so much fun. So I want to give a shout out to the 6 gals that I stitch with. There is Kathy and Karen, who were actually former shop owners, and there is BJ and Stephanie and Marion and Sarah. And these gals are very accomplished stitchers. We meet in the morning, bring our lunch, and then stitch all morning and in the afternoon. So that is one of my highlights of the whole trip that we take. I also, this is going to sound funny to you, but there's yoga on the beach every morning, which is so relaxing. Our son and his wife, my daughter-in-law Brenda, and 3 of our grandchildren came down for a week, and the 2 youngest grandchildren actually go with me, Tristan, who's 16, and Ellie, who's 14, and it just makes it such a fun outing for us. It's kind of a tradition now. They both seem to like it. So let's see, what else can I tell you? I have more trips coming up, so I'm back to not sleeping very well. Again, thinking about all the things that need to be done. But anyhow, This is a special day. April 22nd is my grandson Wyatt's birthday. So he and his wife have been in Uganda for 10 months. And I want to give a shout out to Wyatt and Kylie. Thankfully, they're coming home at the beginning of June. And we're so anxious to see them. It's been quite a year for them. Adventures and, as you can imagine, trials and tribulations of living in a third world country. But they've done an amazing job. So I'm very proud of them. So now what else do I want to tell you? I want to tell you about some of the floss tubers, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody, that I met in Nashville. Elizabeth Can Stitch was working with Liz Matthews, and she was right around the corner from us, so that was fun. We got to run into each other several times. I'm going to take a quick sip of tea here. You know, I always kind of lose my voice. Also, Chrissy from Finally a Farm Girl was there. Annie with the Proper Stitcher, of course, who I've met before. Let's see, Jen and Carol from Two Tall Stitchers. And I'm sure there were others, and if I missed you, send me a note and we'll talk about it next time. So the funny thing about Nashville, I want to talk to you a little bit about the releases, because some of the things, my exclusive kit I have not shown yet, is that I never know what's going to sell. And this is definitely a problem for designers, because we print a certain quantity and then all of a sudden something takes off and we're reprinting, which is fabulous. So I will tell you about what was the best seller, and then the one in second place, and then the others are, of course, doing thankfully well too. So let's see where to start. All of my models, except for one tiny one, of the new releases are actually they're not in transit, they're actually at a shop, and they're going to be going to the show Celebrations in New Hampshire. So Kathy with Inspired Needle is opening a new shop in Florida, and she is also exhibiting, this is kind of complex here, at Galleria. So she asked to take some of my models right from the Nashville market with her so that she can display them at that show. And I'm kind of sorry in a way that I did that, because I really could have used them here when I'm doing videos, but it is what it is. So let's see where to start. Let me start with the biggest booklet, and I don't even know if these booklets had been published when I did my last video. I meant to go back and watch it, and I didn't do that. So this was another compilation of samplers that are in my collection, and I called it American Marking Samplers, and there are 5 of them. Some of them I reproduced because I had the antiques. Some of them I just charted as they were, and each page has a picture of the sampler, a description of the history, and of course the chart for the design. So I'm going to show you, I think I did a little before, but I'll show you just real quickly a couple of the samplers that appeared in that booklet. This one was fascinating to research because it was a young girl from Illinois, and her name was Gracie Alvinia Erickson. And I think I told you in the last video, she graduated from Northwestern in 1906, which was quite remarkable. And her little saying on this was actually worked on perforated paper in the original. That was what attracted me to this sampler. It said, "May you live to see your great-grandchildren." And I thought that was so unusual. This one is, of course, not the original. It was a reproduction. And then another piece that is in that collection is one of my oldest. Let me show you, first of all. This is Mary Wilson. She stitched it in 1796. If you see the linen up close, it looks hand woven, which I'm sure it was. And she stitched it at age 20, which is interesting because, you know, most of the samplers, marking samplers we see, are stitched by very young girls. So that was the original sampler, which I bought from a dealer here in Kalamazoo, and then I reproduced it. And it has such interesting colors in it. I just love it. It has several shades of aqua and purple. It's probably hard to tell. It doesn't have glass on it, but there's some brown in here, a pale yellow. I just love the colors. And incidentally, I want to give credit. I've been using Lisa with L&M Framing to do a lot of my pieces lately, and she framed this. She does beautiful work. I will put any of my sources in the notes at the end of the video. So that was another one that appeared in American Marking Sampler booklet. And this one does have glass on it. This one was so interesting. It wasn't signed, but I love the little row, I don't know if you can see it, of zigzag she did right through here. Maybe she ran out of time or interest. The funny thing is she did the top one and the bottom one, but then she never completed the one in the center. So we don't know, of course, who did this, but it was done. It was dated. It's 1850. So those are 3 of the samplers that appeared in that booklet. And some of you who are watching my video today might be brand new to the channel. So if you are, welcome. And I'll try to explain some things that might be confusing to you. Anyhow, always ask questions. That's the best thing to do. So now the next thing I'm going to do is since I don't have the models, I went down in the basement to look through my storage area to see what could I find today. And as I said, I didn't do very well. Let's see, what did I find? Okay, so since I don't have the models, I did find some really great posters that were actually in the window of the room where I had my display at market. And so this is a real good example of a new design. It's called A Joyful Purpose. And the quotation, "Joy and work for labors all, make the work and effort small," I found in one of my sampler books, and it was from the Pennsylvania German, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's like Pennsylvania German samplers. I should have grabbed it to show you where I'd gotten it. And all of the motifs and borders from here are from antique samplers. Let's see what I can tell you. I'm going to have to, it's going to be awkward and noisy, I think. Let me tell you, here's what the booklet looked like. I stitched this on a 36 count linen called Winter Moon, and the fiber that I used, let's see, I used actually a DMC, there were 2 shades of raspberry, a dark raspberry and a medium salmon color, which appears in this little pot, which is a very traditional antique sampler motif, as you know. So that was one of the designs that was released. Another one that was released, and I don't have a poster of this one, is part of a long series that I've done called the Seaside series. And this is Seaside 8. Each series includes 2 themes that go with going to the ocean or the seaside. And this year I did an egret and I did a seal. And let's see if I have more pictures. And the little seal right here is stitched over 1. The egret is stitched over 2. All right, I'm going to turn this. And here is the egret stitched over 1 and the seal over 2. So this is similar to my French country designs in that I include all kinds of seaside motifs in each image. So in the seal, there's an anchor and a seahorse and a sailboat and a lighthouse and fish, etc. And the same kinds of things make up the egret. So they're very fun to design. It's like doing a puzzle. So Seaside 8 was one of the releases. Let's put that aside. Let's see. What's next on top. This one I actually have one little model left. And this one has proven, let's put it the right way, to be very, very popular. I'm going to move over like this. This is called Stitching in the Round. And I have to give credit to Anne of Dying to Stitch in Virginia because she loves the round designs. And I think she and Anne have stitched almost everything I've designed. And she gave me this idea. and there's a slight glare, I'm sorry, from my light, but it was so much fun to put together. As you can see, there are tomato pin cushions and scissors and spools. There's even a little floss. Let's see if I can point to it down here. There's sewing birds, a book, of course, buttons, crosses, hearts, because we love what we do. So let's see, put this aside. Sorry for the crinkles. And this is the model that I have of it done over 1. And you can kind of see how sweet it looks when it's done. I always do my over 1s on a 28 count fabric because for some reason I find that easy, even without magnification, or use a magnifier if you need to see, to stitch with just one strand over 1 thread. And I love the little ones. So this is what stitching in the round looks like as a booklet. There's the little 1 over 1. And the design over 2, I actually put, I don't know if you could tell from the picture below, I actually put it in a wooden box like I often do. I love those little wooden boxes. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. They come unpainted, and so I just spray paint them, and then I find a pretty fabric to put in the bottom. And then I often take one motif out of the design and stitch it, and you can't tell from this picture here, but I put it on the inside lid of the box, and it's kind of a surprise when you open it. I've done that a number of times. So that was very, very popular. That probably came in second in popularity. All right, what was the most popular design released? It actually was, and maybe you won't be surprised, Eliza's French birds. And this just seemed to capture everyone's attention. And I can't tell you how grateful I am, because there are so many people who are stitching Eliza's birds as stitch along. And Annie of the Proper Stitcher started it. I'm trying to think of all the people. Kim with Contented Stitcher has finished it. Elizabeth with Elizabeth Can Stitch is working on it. Celeste Creates. I'm trying to think of who am I missing here. There are so many. I am missing somebody here. Who is it? I have my notes, and of course I can't find what I need to. Sarah of Sarah's Stitchy Spot. She just started it. Merritt of Just Because on Flosstube. And if I'm missing other people, I should have gone on and put the hashtag in to look for it. But let me show you the poster I have of it, because this was so much fun. This is actually part of an antique that I own, that I bought last summer. And you can see just what an interesting piece it is. I love the colors. There's several shades of pinks and salmons. Reds and the berries, the greens of the leaves. And this was also framed by Lisa. Someone asked actually in the last video of L&M framing, so I'll be sure to put her name in. But it was amazing, and it still is amazing because the orders are just flying in. I have an interesting story to tell you about what happened on the last day of market. And it was probably, I don't know, just before we closed. 2 gals came in who were exhibitors at market, and they had seen that poster in the window. And they came in, and they were very nice, but it took me by surprise what happened. So they came in and said, that design that you have just released, one of the gals said, I am also charting something. And at first I thought it was identical, and my heart was just, falling into my stomach, because it would have been so sad if that was the case. She said, I am charting something almost identical, and I'm going to be teaching this at a retreat. And I have to tell you, I was not sure quite how to respond. That had never happened to me before. And so she didn't have she had a picture on her phone of and it was part of, just like mine was, part of an antique sampler that actually had quite a few different motifs on it. I'll show you the antique next time. And so I didn't know what to say. And so I looked at hers and I thought, well, that's good. And as I studied it, I realized it was so similar. It's like a sister design to this one. And it had, the birds were placed differently in the leaves. They are blue and red instead of the pinks. And leaves are similar, but again, those are different. So I don't know what she's going to call her release, but once I find out, and if you're interested in stitching the companion piece to Eliza's French Birds, but I thought it was such an interesting story. And as I said, I didn't know how to respond at first, and then, you just have to say, well, this happens. It's actually probably one of the biggest worries of being a designer, is that you're going to release something that is so close to what someone else has done. So anyhow, I thought you might want to know that story because it was so unusual. So in addition to Eliza's French Birds in that antique sampler, I didn't want to do the whole thing. The whole antique sampler didn't appeal to me, but it had many designs. I'll show you the poster for it. And this is called, what did I call it? Eliza's Sewing Smalls. So let me see if I can get this the right direction. So I took 3 designs that were in that sampler that were actually little motifs that were scattered around, and I had them finished into 3 separate pieces. And I give credit to Mona Boast with the silver needle. She did a fabulous job of finishing. When I get the models back, I'll be sure to show you those in person. I think they're in my last video, actually, come to think of it. But there is, let me put this down. There's a little scissor pocket that's a square with the design mounted on an angle. I love how that turned out. I thought it was such a good idea. Let's see, what can I show you? There is a scissor fob, this little one with the roses. And there is also a tiny little pin cushion. And I just love the way that turned out. And we used Jersey Girl Pin Company pins, that's hard to say, that Teresa and her daughter Anna do as part of the little pillow. And we actually sold those at market. We sold out of them. And if you're interested in more pins, I'm going to put Teresa's company name below so that you can contact her. All right, I actually forgot one part of the beginning of my video, but I'm going to keep moving on. I'll keep moving forward, and hopefully I'll remember to include it at the end. So you see, I haven't done this in a long time, and it's confusing. So the piece that was released at market, and this probably isn't going to show up very well, is called Lina's Pinky Pillow. And I wish I had the model. It was finished by Susan Coates of Keepsakes in Ohio. Let's see if I can get this up closer. I know that, you know what? I need to take this out. Let's see if I can get it out without making too much of a racket. There we go. I forgot. I took all, actually, the trims that go with this pillow out to show you, but I forgot to take the booklet out. So, because the trims are gorgeous. All right, this will be better. So this is what the pillow looks like. It's probably maybe about 6 inches long, 4 inches high. It's based on an antique sampler that is in my collection. And it was done by Lina Stuffed. I loved that name, Lina. And it's just a simple alphabets and numbers, but the finishing on this is exquisite. So let me show you, because it doesn't really show up without showing you the model, that Susan chose all of the accoutrements that go with this kit from Lady Doc Creates. Well, Not everything, but almost everything. So the backing fabric is actually this, which is just gorgeous. Picks up all the colors and adds a little more to the piece. And then on either side of the front of the pillow is a beautiful hand-dyed velveteen from Lady Dot. There in the kit, there's also, of course, the floss that I used. I used 309. She also sent some beautiful rickrack that's put around the edges, and some beautiful, can you see that too, the hand-dyed ribbon. So in this set of directions, oh, this is so sweet too, and here, let me tell you about that. So do you see this little tiny strawberry right here? Well, Susan is so creative. When she got done with the pillow, she decided to make a strawberry, and she stitched my initials on it, and then she has written not only the set of directions for how to make the strawberry, but also in the booklet there's a complete, to show you just part of it here, there's a complete set of instructions of how to finish that pin keep. So I have lots of pillows left. I'm going to be sending them to some trunk shows, but if you are interested in ordering a Lina's pin keep pillow, which wasn't exclusive at Nashville for the shops that attended, but now any shop can order it, all you have to do is have your shop call me and I can send them out to them. So it just turned out so beautifully. I was very, very pleased, and we sold out of everything we had there, and we ended up sending quite a few more. So we're back in production on those. All right, what am I forgetting here? You can see I haven't done this in so long. I know what I wanted to tell you. I forgot to tell you about the mail that I got while I was gone. I just got a few notes, but I always like to acknowledge that. I got a sweet note from Teresa at Jersey Girl Pin Company, and she sent the most gorgeous pins. Look at these, that you could put in Lina's little kit. Aren't those beautiful? So these were specifically designed as Lina's pins and handmade. She will have those on her website. She sent me 2 packages. I'm going to put one in my model, and then I'm going to give one away today. And when I do my giveaways, I don't really ask, excuse me, questions. I just go through and have a random number generator, and I enter the number of comments, and I have them choose 3 numbers, and I go through and I select 3 people out of that to win the prizes. So that's how that works. And then I got the sweetest note. So I forgot to tell you, I think I did, because the last video was all about Nashville releases and was really aimed at shop owners, I forgot to tell you that I think it must have been late February, that I had a chance to go to a shop in Porte, Indiana, and I'm going to feature that shop later today, called House of Stitches. And I'm trying to think who set this up. Oh, my friend Lindy, who lives in Grand Rapids and used to own a shop, and she contacted Laura of Brendan the Serial Stitcher, famous art starter Laura, and her mom Nancy, and their friend Kelly. And they all drove in from Chicago, and we met one morning early, just after the shop opened. We all had a list of things we wanted to shop for and visit. It was so much fun. We were there for hours, and then we went out to lunch together. It was just delightful. Well, Nancy, Laura's mom, wrote me the sweetest note. And thank you, Nancy. It was just, she had so much fun. We want to do it again. It was just a really nice day, a nice change of pace, actually. And of course, I love being with other stitchers. And then I got a sweet card from the UK because I had sent something. I think she was one of the prize winners. And isn't that beautiful? It's just always such a treat. And her handwriting is perfect, just adorable. So that was some of the mail that I got. And organize my desk here. I've, as usual, have many piles of things. And then also, one of the things I got in the mail, which I was just so delighted about. So I have been buying French General fabrics for years. And someday I'll tell you about a trip that I took that they did in France. It was a trip of a lifetime. And every once in a while they post something on Instagram, and they were releasing they release a new line of fabrics every, I think, 6 months or so. A lot of times they're reds, but this time they were blues. So they asked a question, and I don't even remember what my answer was. I just said something about how blue was my favorite color. Obviously, I'm wearing it. And then somehow I was chosen. And look at these. They are so gorgeous. And they sent me samples from this line. And each one is, look at this. I mean, I can't wait to use these as a background. I don't have anything designed yet for them, and then they sent some large pieces of some of my favorites. Isn't that just gorgeous? And the funny thing is, I designed that Bluebird of Happiness sampler, of course, way before I knew about their fabrics. And my goodness, this would make a gorgeous backing for that pillow, or for that design as a pillow. So that was just a fun gift to receive. And the line is called, let's see, I think it's called Le Bleu de France. Just gorgeous. They have a quilt that goes with it. So go to their website. If you want to buy any of their fabrics, you can buy usually the more current line, yards of it on their website. So that was quite fun. So now the next thing you wonder probably is, what have I been stitching? So let me grab this over here, because I have been a busy person, a busy designer. So as most of you know, I have released 4 collections of ornaments, and they're in spiral bound books. People seem to love them because they're each book has the chart, has all the instructions of the colors. I give finishing instructions, and I always show them pictured on a small tree. Now, I worked my models for this booklet on 28/1, but I want to tell you they work beautifully on over 2, on 28, 32, whatever your fabric of choice is. So you don't have to do the over 1. I don't want you to be discouraged. So this is collection 4. So I thought I was done with collections, but then I started going through, and a lot of these are taken from designs that are out of print or were done a long time ago. So I thought, I don't know if I have 20 more left in my collection and in my little head to release another booklet. But I put my heart and soul into kind of looking through old patterns, designing some new ones, doing adaptations of old ones, and I stitched almost all 20 of these designs when I was down in Florida, which is great because, you know, it's quiet, and that's, what else do I want to do but read and stitch? So some of the models are actually finished. Some are still at the finisher, and some are waiting for me to finish them. So that's something on my to-do list for this next week. I'm hoping to release this book in June, and keep your fingers crossed because it's going to be a very tight turnaround. The models are done. They are at my graphic artist waiting to be charted. So I'm just, as I say, I have another trip in between here, so I'm a little nervous about timelines. But you know what? I'll do it when I can, right? I don't have any bosses telling me what to do. So let me show you how many I think I pulled 7 or 8 of the ornaments out. So this is one of them, Joy, which was actually a kit that I did a long time ago. I've always liked that. I love the little wreath in the center. And it's just finished, of course, as a flat with a backing, a little bit of evergreen, and a red bell. So that's one of them. This came from a booklet called Sweet Christmas Bags, and Oh shoot, I have another model of this. You know what? It's at the finisher. The reason I stitched another model of it, and I don't know what happened, but there's a little flaw right in this corner here. So I decided I needed to stitch a second model, and actually it's at the finisher right now, but it's just sweet. It's worked on a 28 count red with white. It wouldn't take but probably one evening to stitch that. So that's another one. I also did, oh, the finishing on this is so gorgeous. I'll have to give you her name because she's on Etsy. It's Terri. Oh, look at the fabric on the back. Isn't that sweet? So she finished it. I'm straightening everything as I'm showing it to you. This is a little cardinal tree. And she put a little tassel at the bottom and cording and a beautiful ribbon. Just lovely. So that's the third one. Here's another one that came from a very old booklet. I'll show you a darling backing. And Terri finished this one too. This is Noel. Finished with just a twisted cording on the edge. Let's see, here's another design that is coming out, and it's just a little house to say welcome. I could also see this being used as a housewarming gift or an ornament, and you could put the date on here, make it a little larger, or the name of the family. I just think that would be so sweet. So she used, she used a beautiful, it's very hard to see, it's kind of a tone on tone, but a beautiful green fabric on the back of that one. This is a new design that I thought, oh, I love doing the little rounds, and I don't have any rounds in ornaments. I take that back, I do, but I designed a new one, and it's very, as you can see, very tiny. Look at this on the back, the little checkerboard. So that's a new design that's going into that booklet, all with Christmas motifs, kind of a mini design. And then this is the last one I have to show you today that will be coming in the new book, and that is, I'm trying to think, what did I call this? I think I called it Heart of Trees, something like that. Sounds a little corny, but that's what it is. So I can see this video is going very long, but I guess because I've been gone for so long, that's going to happen. Look at that gorgeous fabric. So those are 7 of the designs that will be in book number 5. And I'm very excited about that. Let's see. I just have a little bit more to tell you about. I've also been stitching the model, and I think I might have shown you this before. So when I designed the Bluebird of Happiness design, which incidentally is going to be released to all shops in August, end of August, it was based on an antique sampler that I purchased online. And I love this piece, and you know what I loved about it. Of course, because I used it. These bluebirds and just the shape of the swirl and the colors and the flowers, I just thought it was an unbelievable border, and I'd never seen anything like it. I do have questions for you, and you, my viewers, are always so helpful. And I mentioned this once before. This is a traditional, obviously, alphabet, but the top row, and someone said to me, and maybe one of you will know a little more about this, that they felt that this could be, I'm trying to think how they put it, initials for like a biblical verse. And I don't know if I even have stated that correctly, but if you have any theories about what that series of letters could mean, it is remaining a mystery. And I believe this is German. It's H. Rabenau. I know I've mispronounced that, and I apologize, and it was done in 1908. So that is going to also be released in June, and I'm sorry I did not iron this, so it's going to look very wrinkly, but I did stitch this while I was down in Florida on a 36 count, and I love how it turned out. I think it's quite striking, especially if you are a Bluebird fan. So those were the things that I've been working on. So back to the notes, let's talk about the rest of the video here. and I look forward to hearing from you. So the one thing I've been trying to do every time I record a video is to support our local needlework shops. They are the key to our business. We as designers cannot be successful without the shops buying and promoting our pieces. So I try to mention shops. I'm going to try to do more of this, but the one I want to mention is the one that we visited. So I don't do any editing. Everything is very simplistic, shall we say. So this is the shop that we visited. It was House of Stitches, and you can see the address. I'll put it in the notes below. It has a new owner. Sarah is a new owner. And we met Sarah when we visited. They have a fantastic shop. The number of models on display, the number of books that they carry, the fibers and the fabrics is just fabulous. So if you're ever near LaPorte, Indiana, it's just up, I'm trying to think, it's just off 94 as I'm driving from Kalamazoo towards Chicago. And it's only about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes away from here. So, I would recommend it highly. You can always call Sarah if you're looking for something and order it from her directly. So I have chosen 3 names from my last video to choose to win prizes this week. So the way to contact me with questions or you're a prize winner, anything, is my email is Judy@JBW Designs. Messaging sometimes for some reason, I don't know why, I don't see messages always right away. So email is best. You can also check me out on my Instagram account, which is judy.whitman, and also my website, which is jbwdesigns.com. And I also, on my website, I do have a shop, and I carry a lot of my older designs that are available to order in that shop. So check it out. As I say, they're older designs. I don't put my newer ones in there. I'm trying to be faithful to my shop owners. So our winners: Allison Norris, Mano, I'm not sure I pronounced that right, might be Mona, Ortega. I apologize if it's wrong. And then the last one is also difficult. It's Janata Chingwa, Chingwa. So congratulations to you 2 ladies, or 3 ladies. One of you, if you're interested in the pins, please let me know. I only have 1 set of those. And the other gals can select any of the designs that I showed today as a prize, and I will send you the booklet. And I always like to finish with a quotation. And this one, my friend Sandy always has just great quotations. And so I liked this a lot. A person's most useful asset is not a head full of knowledge, but a heart full of love, an ear ready to listen, and a hand willing to help others. And I thought, what a great way to live our lives. And I think stitchers are like that, especially. So my next video may be delayed, as I mentioned. We are leaving in 2 weeks to go to California. It's going to be both, how do I say this, a happy and sad occasion. A very dear friend of ours died at a very young age, and we've known Kristen since she was a little girl. We're very good friends with her parents, her sisters, etc. And she had glioblastoma, which is just a terrible brain cancer. And she was a light in a room. I mean, she was so special. So they're having a memorial service for Kristen, and we are going to that. And the good part about our trip is we're going to see a lot of friends who we haven't seen in a long time. We're going to take a few days afterwards to travel, and then I'll be back. If I get a chance before I leave, I'll film a video. If not, you'll know why I'm delayed. So thank you so much for watching. You are the best, and I so appreciate you all. See you soon. Bye.